Tonight's episode of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club is brought to you by Drew Estate. Come experience the rebirth of cigars at www.drewestate.com and download the free Drew Diplomat smartphone app today to discover nearby retailers, RSVP to special events, redeem points to win exclusive Drew Estate merchandise, and much, much more.
Mistake, but I'm having too much fun to wait. Flag her down when she comes back by. That one's yours and this one's mine. Bring another round. 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 Bring another round.
Here's the suckers.
Good evening, brothers and sisters of the Leaf. Coming to you live once again from, well, all over the fucking place. It's the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Tonight, the boys welcome their very special guest, Bill Gould, to discuss his highly unique and dangerously delicious plum brandy, Yebiga, as well as his legendary band, Faith No More. And as long as we're rocking and or rolling, the crew will be smoking the Van Halen-themed CHC Serie E 5150 cigar from Crowned Heads and talking about the 1987 cult classic horror film, Rock and Roll Nightmare. It sounds like we're in store for one hell of a good time, folks. At least, maybe even two hell of a good time. Two hells of a good time? Two hell of a good times? Nah. Whatever the fuck it is, folks, sit back, light 'em up, and enjoy the show.
Well, how about that? That was fun, eh, boys?
It was. It was indeed.
Man, that was an education. That was awesome. Well, we burned through our featured cigar while talking to Billy, but speaking of cigars, you know who makes some damn fine ones, Ty?
Who's that?
Oh, you know who I'm talking about.
Our friends at Drew Estate.
That's right, our good friends at Drew Estate, and they have a new stick out right now that y'all will definitely want to get your hands on. Introduced during Freestyle Live's special edition, the 20-Acre Farm by Drew Estate is a complex and medium-bodied cigar with super oaky and cedary notes, accompanied by a whisper of white pepper and bright hints of citrus. 20-Acre Farm is built using a velvety Ecuadorian Connecticut shade-grown wrapper, a sun-grown Habano binder, and filler blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos from Esteli and Jalapa, blended with the opulent and majestic Florida sun-grown leaf, which is humbly and lovingly grown one harvest at a time by Jeff Borshowitz on a pristine 20-acre plot of land near the central Florida town of Claremont. Go seek those out. I think you might enjoy them. And I'd also like to take a moment while we're here to talk about something very cool, Cigar World. Cigar World is an online site for cigar smokers. There you can get cigar news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Also on the site is a cigar research panel called the Testing Lab. Doctor, you like testing labs?
Indeed, I do.
Test tubes. Anything in a laboratory kind of gets your motor running. You can sign up to give your input on new cigars by taking surveys and testing cigars. Check it all out at cigarworld.com/testing lab. And you might even run into the TNCC doctor there doing some of his mad, crazy experiments.
Never can.
Well, hey, since we smoked our Crowned Heads Eddie Van Halen cigar while talking to Bill, boy, earth, leather, a peppery retrohale, not a lot of transitions or complexity, but a really nice, straightforward cigar. And it really did pair well with the Rakia.
Yeah, it really, really did.
But we still got a movie to talk about, boys. So we're going to smoke another one. Let me introduce our second cigar of the night. It is the Guardian of the Farm Selección Apollo by Warped Cigars. We talked a lot with Billy about farms, and the movie tonight takes place in a farmhouse out in the country. So why not do the Guardian of the Farm? Look how that worked out. It is a 6x44 Nicaraguan Puro. The wrapper is Aganorsa Leaf Corojo 99. And then the binder and filler are also from Aganorsa's crops. I'll save price point for last. Developed as a collaboration between avid dog lovers Max Fernandez and Kyle Gellis of Warped Cigars, the Guardian of the Farm Apollo Selección de Warped was crafted in honor of the American bulldogs that guard the Casa Fernandez factory and fields in Nicaragua. And each vitola is named after one of the canine protectors. This guy's named after the dog Apollo. I acquired these suckers way back in January of 2019, so they're probably ready to be smoked. It's time. We've been holding on to these for a while. So, boy, cedar and milk chocolate on the wrapper here.
Oh yeah,
Really nice smelling cigar. Is that a closed foot? I can't tell in my lighting. Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
So
kind of quarter closed.
Mine is all the I can't tell. All right.
mine. I got like a little patch that isn't, but it's like almost like 90%. So
yeah.
Okay. And then of course, we're almost all out of the Perva.
I am all out.
Plum brandy.
That's why I'm kind of dragging today. I'll tell you right now, I'm kind of dragging because I hit it up during that interview, and it was just woo-wee.
Yeah, I drank quite a bit plum brandy last night or earlier in the show, and that's how crazy things got. But so yeah, I think we've all switched to our beloved craft beers tonight. As we light up, Yak Boy, did you have time? Do you got any kind of intel on these beers we're drinking?
I have some intel, yes.
Oh, look at you coming through in the clutch. Well, you know what? Go ahead, because we're recording this episode on 420. I went ahead and decided, why not? I've enjoyed these Enjoy by beers quite a bit from Stone. And this is their Enjoy by 42022. So I have to drink all these tonight because they'll be bad tomorrow.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about this beer, Yax.
It is a hazy IPA, a little bit of a powerhouse, 9%, 50 IBUs. Does it taste like 50 IBUs?
Higher. I put it high 60s.
Well, it's good. Of course, Stone, they actually do a version of this pretty much every year.
Mm-hmm.
So they just sort of update it, and they also do other ones throughout the year to kind of emphasize different.
Yeah, they do like a Best By 1031 for Halloween, and I tend to like these little micro batches that they do, and yeah, this is good. It's got a real kind of big orange citrus component to it, but just a little maltiness, but it's got a great aroma and it tastes good. It's got a real nice hot bite. I'm digging it, and but it's nothing crazy. I can't see it give me any issues. Okay. What about the doctor? What's that crazy mofo drinking tonight?
Doctor is enjoying Pantera Golden Ale, not the Righteous Band. It is named after, of course, the All Rockin' Band, but it is a collaboration with the Texas Ale Project, located in Dallas, Texas. 5.4%, 16 IBUs. I did say it was a golden ale, so it's not going to have big hop bite, but it's also actually enjoyed. I believe the doctor enjoyed it as well on episode 142.
Okay.
We reviewed the Murder Hornet cigar. So I believe he said it was quite tasty then. Well, hopefully it will be tasty now.
Doctor, is it still tasty?
It is tasty.
Okay. All right. Well, we are doing a rock and roll movie tonight. We had a rock and roller as our special guest. So good on you, Doc, for picking a rock and roll beer.
I thought it was appropriate.
I actually had this guy lined up.
We were a chance to save my soul. Sorry.
I had Jam Fest. Like musicians jam.
They do jam. That is correct.
From Brazos Valley Brewing Company, and I honestly it was kind of boring, so I went out and got something else. Okay. Well, what about you, Yak Boy? What are you drinking?
I am having from Ingenious Brewing Company from Humble, Texas, their Double Splat Double IPA.
Okay.
I figured if the content of our movie, there was a lot of splats. And obviously you'll see some of the more interesting characters. They basically hawked what looks like this thing right here. So it sort of made me chuckle when I saw it.
Okay.
But the Double Splat, it is a hazy IPA as well, 8.2%, 60 IBUs. We have also had, you had one of theirs actually back on episode 150, the Double Galaxy hazy IPA.
I like that one.
So I'm thinking this one will be pretty darn good as well.
Okay. It looks very cloudy.
Oh, it is hazy. It is a glass of orange juice.
That's way.
Uh-oh.
That's
Orange Jono.
Oh, no. Poor Lars. Check those caps before you drink the juice. Okay. Is it good? Is it tasty?
It is good. I mean, very citrusy. 60 IBUs, but I mean, it really doesn't taste like that. I would probably, I'm kind of like the opposite of you. I'd probably say it's like 50, maybe 45.
Are you sure you didn't get your notes screwed up and you got ours confused?
No, I'm fairly certain.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
check.
lack of faith there.
No, of course not. I was, real quick, Tut, before we go to you, you lit up first. Boy, for Nicaraguan Puro, it's got a really tamed spice on the retro hail. I was actually kind of taken aback just how medium and it didn't come at me like I thought.
No, it didn't. But there's a unique spice. I'm having difficulty placing it. It's only on the retro hail. We're not talking pepper or anything. This is a legit, spice, almost like some sort of baking spice, but I'm having a hard time placing it.
Paprika.
No, it's not smoky or anything like that. No. And it's not like a ginger, but it's a warm spice, but it's not a smoky spice.
Cinnamon.
And it's not as sweet, but it's close. It is. It's in that wheelhouse.
I could see that. Okay. And I think cinnamon might be kind of close, but there's also
it could. It very well could be. I am like I am so kind of just weird after that interview to where I'm just kind of like I'm in the saddle, but I'm just holding on.
Weird in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's just a really nice cedary profile. There's a little something else there, but I'm gonna need a little more time. Okay, well, I'll come back to it. I just want to get your kind of first take because I was just really surprised by the lack of any kind of pepper,
Warp. If I recall, Warp doesn't really go in with the baseball bat on the Nicaraguan stuff. They're a little bit more nuanced. They're not like a black label where it's going to be here's the Nicaraguan profile, cranked up to 11.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's Tut drinking tonight, Yakwa?
He, from Austin, Texas, from Fourth Tap Brewing, the Soundcheck Crispy Boy.
Crispy Boy?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I get the sound check reference. We had a musician as our guest, and there's a lot of rockin' sound checks in our movie. What is the Crispy Boy part of it?
I just went for the sound check. I didn't think about the Crispy Boy, but I could easily come back and say, hey, that demon coming out of the oven was sure a Crispy Boy.
Well, that technically could work, yes.
Tut, will you change your screen name on Zoom to Crispy Boy?
Crispy Boy.
You should.
Because I really want to call you that, and I'll forget. Stupid 9% beers. Is it good?
Oh yeah, and I also chose it because it's 4.5%.
I'm sorry, I missed what style of beers is.
It is a lager, a pale lager. So, of course, Fourth Tap we're very well acquainted with. They are makers of our wonderful Kung Fu Robot.
Oh yeah, love the Kung Fu Robot.
So,
Tut, is it good? Is it good lager?
Yeah. It's nice and refreshing right now. I wouldn't say it's like crispy, but it's got a little zip to it. Not heavy citrus, not too heavy citrus. It's just a nice, easygoing, tame lager, which is exactly what I want and need right now.
Okay. With just barely getting into this sucker, that cedar has just been joined by a little bit of mineral and a little bit of toasted marshmallow on the draw. So interesting. Already some things developing. We didn't get a lot of that with the first cigar.
No.
Okay. Well, that's what we're drinking. You know what we're smoking, which only leaves one thing left to do tonight, and that's talk about a movie. And that movie is 1987's Rock and Roll Nightmare. Written by the film star John Micklethor and directed by John Fasano, who went on to direct another rock and roll themed horror flick a year later. You guys remember Black Roses?
Oh, hey, all right.
We featured that back on episode 146 on our March to Halloween last year. Boy, his special effects got a lot better over that year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I wonder if his budget got better.
I'm going to guess it almost certainly did.
Yeah, certainly. But
he didn't have to spend as much on body oil the second time.
It is true, and hairspray.
Yeah. It's funny. We haven't done one Stanley Kubrick movie in 154 shows, but this is our second John Fasano film.
One has to also imagine the maintenance fees with keeping a chainmail studded black posing bikini at the ready at all times. That probably cost a few bucks.
I actually speak from experience, Doctor. You would be amazed at the expenses involved. It's like when you buy a little puppy. You don't realize all the costs that are going to pile up as a result of owning a dog. It's the same with the black studded bikini trunks, or so I've heard. Well, you guys want to jump in on this or what?
Yeah, I got my wristbands on, my puka shell necklace. I'm ready to rock. I got my Deathgasm shirt. I'm just
Crispy boy is ready.
Crispy boy is ready.
He's crispy.
How crispy are you?
You told me to change my name. I changed it, so there you go.
Oh, he did. Okay, I'm happy.
Working on the lyrics to a song, "The Legend of the Crispy Boy."
The Legend of the Crispy Boy. Oh, Crispy Boy. We start things off with a prologue where a mother is making breakfast for her family in a secluded Canadian farmhouse. A secluded farmhouse with a major interstate directly behind it, but okay, whatever. I guess it's still kind of secluded, maybe. Anywho, something in
There's
the house.
long, lonely stretches of 35. It might as well be secluded, man.
That's true. I just would have liked them to pick a farmhouse that actually, like, whenever they're like, we're stuck here, there's no way to get out of here, and you're like, you see buses like driving right behind the house. Anywho, something in the house causes the mother to scream out in horror. And when her doofus husband races downstairs to see what's going on, he naturally looks for his wife in the oven. Dear, are you okay? Look in the oven here.
It also makes it more begs the question. You could have just run into the kitchen. Not again. Runs over to the.
And that's a big mistake because a demonic charred skeleton emerges from the oven, and that's it for this putz. He's history. There's something wrong with the secluded Canadian farmhouse, isn't there, Doctor?
There is. And did not the charred skeleton kind of remind you of the original not Deadite, but original zombie from like Return of the Living Dead after the skin melts away?
Yeah, but way less impressive looking.
Yes, that goes without saying.
It actually kind of looked like that skeleton in Return of the Living Dead that comes out of the grave and you can see the string pull its mouth open.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that gag. Well, after the opening credits, we're treated, and I just don't throw around the word treated willy-nilly. We are treated to 4 minutes of screen time devoted to watching a van drive around.
Are you sure it was 4 minutes? It seemed like it felt really much longer.
Absolutely
But
not.
only 4. Yeah.
I object to your use of the word treated here. This was not treated to 4 minutes of screen time watching a van drive by. This was 4 minutes of screen time watching the most epic, perfect van of all time in all cinema history. Look, my dad had like a 70-something Chevy van, had shag carpet, wood paneling, a bed in the back, and that van was epic. Then I saw the A-Team van, and I'm like, oh my God, that van is even more epic. And then I saw this van, and this van is the most perfect van I have ever seen. And if I could find it, I would buy it tomorrow.
Well, Tud, I just happened to, you had mentioned how much you liked it. I've got a lead for you.
Oh, shit, I was just kind of making that up.
Called your bluff, did I?
Actually,
boy.
It really is the perfect van.
It is so fucking sweet. I want to see the inside of that thing, and I'm disappointed that they didn't show it.
Yeah, it does seem kind of.
And if you do have a lead on this van, send it my way.
I know your wife would love having that out in the driveway.
She would resist at first, but then when she saw just the vibe the van gives off, she'd be down for it.
I don't think so, but okay. It is a perfect van. I think we can all agree on that.
I'm with Yax though. I thought it was 27 minutes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the first time you see it, it's coming over the hill. It's like very, Big Trouble. You see the Pork Chop Express rolling down, and I'm like,
fog over the snow on the fields.
I'm like rolling with it, and then we see it again coming down another hill, and this time it's way far away. And man, I'm like, all right, so they're gonna cut. They just stay with that thing.
And then we watch as it stops and goes through 14 different intersections. It's like, okay, I'm still with it.
That van came from a car dealer that not only was probably about 1/6, 1/7 of the budget, but they also needed fill time when they saw the final run time of it. They were like, give us more of that van.
I went to the other room and I made dinner. I came back. They were still driving.
Well, that was another thing too. They never cut inside the van. I think actually what happened was when they finished the movie, they were short on. They didn't have enough movie to be a film, and the actors had all gone home. So, I'll call them actors.
Just bring out the van. I'll call them actors too. We've seen far worse than these.
Oh yeah, I was just teasing.
Okay.
Did you guys notice the personalized plate on the van?
Ducker.
What's that about?
Don't know. I was very curious. Like, is this something like who is Ducker?
I'll tell you who's Ducker. Me. I'm changing my Zoom name. Doctor, don't call me the Duck Man. I'm just Ducker.
Wasn't that an early 70s movie, Ducker and the Crispy Boy?
Now that had some acting in it. Well, the van finally pulls up to that same semi-secluded Canadian farmhouse from the opening scene, and the rock band The Tritons and their lady friends all pile out of the vehicle. Look, yeah, Todd, I'll give you some horns for that one. The band's long blonde-haired singer, John Triton, played by screenwriter John Thor, who rather than write a character for himself with a different first name, just dropped the H, because he spells his name John, but John Triton is Jon.
And John Jon is epic. I mean,
he gets out of the van.
Just the smell of Aquanet coming out of that van is just boom.
For a bunch of rockers who aren't really going out in public, they're just going out to this farm. That they look good.
It's kind of like what was Bill Gould when he was talking about being secluded up in Woodstock. It was like there was only one restaurant. You eventually go mad, so all you do is work. Like, apparently, he didn't get the memo that he's supposed to have his spike undies.
These guys do everything but work. We'll get to that soon enough. Well, John Triton gets out of the van and announces that they have arrived, and they're going to spend the next 5 weeks here at this farmhouse rehearsing. Rehearse for what, you may ask? I don't really know, because Triton, who looks like a combination of Def Leppard's Joe Elliott and a young Dog the Bounty Hunter, first says that they're there. First, he says they're there to rehearse the songs from their latest album. But then in the same breath, he says they need to come up with 10 minutes of new music or they're going to lose their big advance from the record company. Look, Tut, they're just here to fucking rock, okay?
Hey, man, I'm not arguing with Thor at all.
You can't fight rock and roll.
Yeah. Why would you?
Me, that blonde guitarist from Iron Maiden. It was slightly better looking than that guy, but he looked.
I was kind of leaning Iron Maiden too, but I also saw the Def Leppard. I didn't see the Dog the Bounty Hunter though, but that's pretty epic.
I'm pretty sure Dog the Bounty Hunter looked like he did now in his 20s.
Yeah, he did.
The band, all of a sudden my door gets kicked in. Get down, Icehead! I'm like, oh shit.
No, Dog's not kicking in a lot of doors these days. He's knocking.
Is he not? Is he retired?
No, he's still out there. In fact, we just saw a one of those Dateline things where there was like some high publicized missing person, and fucking Dog shows up. It was the Dateline cameras caught him, and I'm like, wow, man, he hasn't aged well.
Again, Tud, I think that's just what he's always looked like. The band's Weasley manager, Phil, explains that he picked this place because there's no telephones or TV to distract them from rocking. And he's outfitted the farm's barn with a 24-track recording studio. But nobody's impressed, especially the band's drummer, Stig, who sometimes speaks with an Australian accent and sometimes he doesn't. And his high-maintenance girlfriend, Luann. Phil introduces them all to the friendly farmhand, Carl, who informs them they're not the first musical act to stay here. In fact, Alice Blooper recorded here previously. Alice Blooper. Yeah, because this guy doesn't know much about the music scene, does he?
He does not.
Carl tries to warn Phil about something, but the goofball manager just blows him off and yanks the keys from him and kicks him the hell out of there. What's he say as they walk off? You'll see. You'll see.
Oh, Dave Murray was the guy from Iron Maiden I was thinking of.
Okay. No, I can picture yeah, okay. Yeah.
And it's not Dave Murray circa 1982.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, those guys now. Have you seen those guys? Yeah. As they haul in their luggage, Triton announces that he and his main squeeze, Randy, are going to take the master bedroom, lead singer style. And he tells newlywed guitarist Roger Ebert, it's spelled Eburt, and his wife Mary, that they can have the smaller bedroom, which leaves everyone else, including guitarist Max and keyboardist Dee Dee, crashing on cots and couches. After we spent a few minutes watching Triton lock up the van, not quite as long as the van driving montage, but and he tells like 10 people, I'm going to go outside and lock up the van. And then he's out there locking it up door by door. And like his girlfriend sticks her head out the window. I'm just still locking up the van.
Because in the secluded area, obviously which of course is next to the highway, they're worried about the van being stolen.
Well, maybe they should. The van is going to go disappearing here in a little bit. Well, after he does that, we get a montage of trees blowing in the wind, the moon creeping in, more trees. And unlike the ridiculously extended van sequence, those shots combined with kind of a somewhat basic synth score actually kind of worked for me temporarily until I realized that it was all build up for an evil presence that, let's be honest, it never really... there's nothing scary in any way, shape, or form about this movie, or the like. You never know what's going on, and nothing's ever explained. And that imagery could have been cool if it kind of lended itself, aided something else that was coming. But
I still think it was pretty cool. I mean, you can't fault B-roll for being stuck in a B movie.
You cannot fault B-roll for being stuck in a B movie. Todd, I like that. Doctor, you can't fault B-roll for being in a B movie.
Classic.
I can fault B-roll for not being used correctly in a B movie.
Yak boy, I think you missed what Doctor said. Classic Ducker. Let's just go with that. After chowing down on Manager Phil's home cooked chicken dinner, the band heads out to the barn to rock. Before we get into this rocking scene, I'm about, a good inch and a half into this thing. Did you pick up any of that mineral or the toasted marshmallow to go with that cedar on the draw?
I'm not really picking up the toasted marshmallow. The minerals crept in. There's still that light hit of cinnamon on the retro hell that I really like. I still think that it's not only cedar. I think there's also a little leather at play there. So far, I'm really kind of digging the cigar. It's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's playing really well with it. And I'm glad that my light beer is out of the way and not interfering with anything, so I can kind of get it.
It's got some nice flavors going. It's a very easy smoking cigar. Nothing at all in your face about it. It's just got some nice kind of subtle flavors that are working all really well together. Does that all sound copacetic to you, Yak Boy?
It does.
Now one thing. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the marshmallow, I had that for a little bit. It's died down. Of course, mineral leather, very, very prominent. I'm getting more of like just a slight pepper for the retro hell. But
actually, me too. Where it wasn't really a discernible black pepper at the very beginning. Yeah. The proof is in the sneeze. It's starting to creep in there, Yak Boy. You're absolutely right. They're right before the start of the second third, which is another nice little twist. This cigar is kind of keeping me on my toes. I like that. All right, so they're out in the barn and they're ready to rock, and you know that Triton is ready to sing his fucking balls off because he's changed into a shiny silver blazer with no shirt underneath. Oh,
love
man.
that look.
God damn, he looked good. They blast into their rock anthem, "We Live to Rock," which is 75% chorus of them just singing, we live to rock" over and over again.
We live to rock. We live to rock. Our kind of music will never stop.
It reminded me of the Kiss anthems. That's what they were trying to go for. It was
to me it seemed more Twisted Sister.
I could see the Twisted Sister. There's one I think it was this song. We live to rock. It was almost like lick it up. And I was just like, it was real close to it.
It's interesting because we're all fans of the genre that we all got like a different thing that we heard. Because for me, it was like early, and I'm a Motley Crue fan, but it was like bad early Motley Crue, like he's got looks that kill, or Shout at the Devil. It kind of was like that early Crue sound for me.
That tells you just how much range the genre had. That one song made us think about 6 different bands.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's actually
I think that's what it's a great time in music, because I was never into Lamb of God, Norwegian death metal or anything like that. I was a fan of the hard rock hair bands, Motley Crue, and
absolutely,
obviously Guns N' Roses, much better band, Metallica, much better band, but I was a fan of those bands, and so there's something that's kind of just fun about it, about the feathered hair and that kind of rock and roll.
And I'll give him this: Triton's a hell of a front man, because they're just playing in this barn to their girlfriends, but he's got his shades on, he's whipping his hair around. I mean, he doesn't half-ass rehearsals.
We always tell each other, when we show up to some club and it's less attended than we would like, it was like, regardless of whether there's one person or 10,000 people, you play to that one person, man. You play the best show that you can play.
That's how Ducker does it. The ladies are really digging it, especially Stig's sexy vixen of a girlfriend, Luann. At first, she's super bored. She's a big city groupie, and the barn bullshit isn't living up to her standards. But after a while, she can't fight the music any longer, and she just starts rock. She lives to rock. They all live to rock. She actually starts taking her, unbuttoning her blouse as she's watching it.
Hey, typical 80s rock fan.
And also, as they're rocking, we get a floating POV shot of someone or something and in the rafters. Hey, maybe it's Alice Blooper still hanging around the barn. You guys didn't find that Alice Blooper thing as funny as I did you?
No.
Yeah.
I also didn't find the follow-up to Don Stewart. I didn't.
I didn't know if they were making it as if those were real people, or if the other guy was just stupid and he was getting the name.
It was stupid and getting the names wrong.
Frank was supposed to be just a country bumpkin who didn't know how to say Alice Cooper, and he called Rod Stewart. What do you call him?
I don't remember. I just made up Don Stewart.
It was like Don Stewart or something like that. Okay. Well, I think it's something far more menacing, perhaps, than Alice Blooper hanging out in the barn. Actually, it's neither. It's not Alice Blooper or anything menacing, as we see a small one-eyed penis-shaped monster sneak up to Phil's drink in the recording booth and spit out what looks like a gooey strand of jizz into his coffee cup.
Yak Boy said that it looked like Splat.
It was literally a penis with an eyeball.
It was a penis with an eyeball. You are absolutely correct.
Who coughed up some jizz into Phil's coffee cup.
And at this point, I went for the wine rack.
You're going to need a little something to get you through this.
Oh, it ended up being more than a little something, Christy.
At the conclusion of the song, Stig breaks one of his drumsticks. So Phil heads down into the barn's basement to find another one. And get this, Luann follows the dorky manager down there and actually does rip off her blouse. She tries to put Phil's hands on her impressive gazungas, but he pulls away. He knows it isn't right to mess with one of his buddy's girls, But when she starts nibbling on his neck, well, what's a guy supposed to do, I guess. Well, too bad for Philly. Luann suddenly transforms into a demon and bites a giant chunk out of his shoulder. Doctor, do you think Phil will live to rock much longer after suffering a serious injury like that?
I'm afraid it's far too early to tell, but every part of his jugular vein was ripped away. It's the pain he must be feeling.
It was messy. It was like that bite in Dawn of the Dead when they're going to the apartment complex and that guy takes that tears off that huge chunk of that chick's trapezius muscle. Only it was really well done in Dawn of the Dead.
Right. When she transforms, the face of the creature, not the size of it, but the face reminded me of the underground monster in Big Trouble in Little China. Just like big eyeballs and they're not nearly as well. Not nearly as
these demons, and I'm going to be mentioning quite a few of them. They're really wrinkly, and they got these big eyes, and they got fangs, and
without the biting and like the violence, they look like they could have been at home, like playing the drums up on like a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant or something like that. Like they might have been fun or something until they attacked.
I don't know, but I'm not taking my kid anywhere where these things are hanging out. Well, wait a minute. Would the one-eyed penis monsters be there too?
I mean, that's not the Ducker I used to know.
Like, oh God, honey, don't stare over at the salad bar. It's another one of those one-eyed penis monsters. You know what? I expect this shit at Little Caesars, but not here.
Wouldn't that be the machine where like the little whack-a-mole, those things just pop out instead? You have to.
Yeah, instead they're little one-eyed dicks that pop up. I mean, that would be a fun game to play.
Doctor, that was a bluegrass band that you were in college, wasn't it? One-Eyed Dicks?
Yeah, we opened for Crispy Boy and Ducker once.
That was a hell of a show. Well, the band hears Phil scream out in pain. They all rush down to the basement, but there's no sign of anyone there. Let's go look for him upstairs, Mary says. But it sounded like the scream came from down here, Triton reasons. You're right. Let's go look upstairs. What was that?
At this point, I was waiting for Triton to say, let's go check out the van. And then another 10 minutes of them just with the van. I thought that was coming next.
I'll go out first and unlock the van.
I'll go look in the van.
It'd take me at least 10 minutes to get it unlocked.
Is he done yet? I'm still unlocking the van. Okay. Well, not only do they not find Phil, but the Ducker van is now missing too. Fucking great. The band calls it a night. Hey, our manager screamed out in pain, is missing, and our only form of transportation's gone.
It's been a long day.
What are you gonna do? The band calls it a night. But when Triton slides into bed with Randy, she's all hot and horny from watching him rock. But he'd rather read a book than tickle her keys. He's not just a rocker, boys. He's a thinker. He's a reader.
Artist. He's an artist.
Yeah. It's like
that wasn't Crispy Boy style, man. That chick was ready to go.
You guys hearing like a loud noise?
There's probably some cicadas outside.
Oh, it sounds like that'd be cicadas.
Okay, I thought I was having a stroke, so I'm somewhat relieved.
Yeah, man, those are the loudest. This is the loudest cicadas I've ever heard.
Yeah, Crispy Boy grows them big.
Well,
I was trying, man. This is the best day after Crispy Boy you get.
Are you gonna try to get your wife to start calling you Crispy Boy?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, I'm hoping this nickname dies as soon after this show's over.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like it.
I don't know, Crispy Boy.
I don't think that way, CD. Don't you need to start your own show, CB and the Ducker?
How come he gets his name first?
It's kind of like BJ and the Bear. It's like BJ and the Bear. You get the initials first.
CB and the Ducker sounds better than than the other way around. I'll give it to you. Well, keyboardist Dee Dee is a little shaken as it's their first night in this old creepy house. Phil's gone missing and she needs some company. So she heads up to Max's room. But much like his frontman Triton, as Dee Dee tries to put the moves on Max, he explains he's really tired. It's been a long day. These have to be the two most unhorniest rock and rollers I've ever come across.
This is where the similarity to Motley Crue and Iron Maiden ends.
These are the most unhorny rockers I've ever come across, and I saw Toto in concert.
Meet you all the way.
Man, and on that Toto reference, I think it's time for me to grab another can of Pantera Gold Ale.
There you go. I actually, I think. How's your draw on the cigar, guys? Is your tight at all?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit. It's workable though, and I'm not. I mean, I've had tighter. It's just.
I bet you have, Crispy Boy. I'm actually taking a nub tool and just kind of jabbing a little bit to see if that helps loosen some things up a little bit.
Yeah, mine's at the end as well.
My God, this
sounds like it's coming from in my living room.
Yeah, like is it really at your place, Tut? I feel like they're surrounding.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you watch Rock and Roll Nightmare. The demons have come for us.
It's like a fire alarm going off, like in a hotel. I certainly hope our listeners can't hear that. Well,
you don't know how to hear cicadas. That didn't work.
No, they're not afraid of Crispy Boy.
Well, that wasn't very crispy.
No, that wasn't. But you could have been crispier.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, we're getting back to our. How's the cigar working? I can't imagine there's anything on your end with the lager Tut. I'm sure they're playing nicely together. How's your double IPA treating it, Yax?
It's actually really good. I mean, this cigar has enough strength, and like I said, this IPA, I said the IBUs were this seems much lower. I mean, this is more. It really is more citrus sweet than anything else. I mean, I'm not getting overly bitter, so it's not really interfering with the cigar. So, like I said, I'm still picking up a lot of the nuance from the cigar. Like I said, the pepper is picked up a little bit. I think it's going to build up. I'm hoping it's going to keep building up. That would be pretty awesome, because I'm about halfway now and it's gotten a little bit stronger. So,
okay, yeah.
That's the thing that kind of concerns me is that Warp doesn't really do a lot of power in their cigars, and I was kind of curious because I was like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, there's a lot of good flavor, but I could see it being overblown or just kind of shoved around by a tart beer or something that's like got some muscle to it. So
mine's a pretty bold beer, and they're playing okay. I was actually hoping, because the beer is you got that really nice citrus side of it. I was really hoping that it would bring out. I don't know if you guys did the cold draw before we lit up on the cigar. It had a very sweet cold draw, and I'm not getting any sweetness out of the cigar. And I was hoping maybe the beer would activate some of that. If only I had more perva, damn it.
Yeah, I will say that I am getting your marshmallow, and that's the first time I've ever gotten marshmallow that I can recall.
Ever?
I hardly don't ever get marshmallow.
Cool. Well, welcome to the party, Crispy Boy.
Yeah, all right. I'll leave my marshmallow in too long so it gets extra crispy.
Amen. Cedar, tiny touch of leather, but that mineral and marshmallow, and then you get that cinnamon and the kind of ebbing and flowing that's kind of growing, that pepper spice. I mean,
it's tasty. It's a tasty cigar.
It's an interesting profile. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. For some reason, I'm thinking I would really like this cigar with maybe a Pinot Noir, a dry red wine.
It would have to be super dry for me. I could see super dry. I also would like a softer coffee. That would be good. Something that's a little bit more not creamy coffee, but kind of sort of leaning that way.
I'm enjoying this quite a bit. All right, well, back to the show. So Triton, where were we? Triton and Max, both limp dicks, don't want anything to do with these chicks that are grabbing them between the thighs. But at least the lovey-dovey newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Roger Ebert, they're doing it, as well as Stig and Luann. Stig, or as Luann calls,
stigging it to her.
He's stigging it to her. Huh?
Come on, Doc. It was too easy. I had to go for it. It's the best I got tonight. Stick around. There's more.
Keeping it crispy.
Ann calls him the 1 minute wonder. I'll let you figure that out. As he climbs off her to go take a whiz. Chicks love that. Oh, that was great, babe. I gotta go take a piss.
High five.
As he's flexing in the mirror while reciting lines from the Terminator, a big-haired blonde chick in lingerie that we haven't seen before steps in the bathroom and reaches a hand out to Stig.
And the first thought is, we're secluded miles from nowhere. Where did this blonde chick come from? No,
he's Stig. Or should I say it in his horrible Australian accent? I be Stig.
That sounded like
a pirate.
Sounded like Long John Silver from Treasure Island.
Yeah, you know what?
I am horny. I lost me pot of treasure.
Shiver me timbers. I just shivered it for a good minute there.
In search of a new drumstick, maybe. Yeah, you know what? My Australian voice does sound a lot like a pirate.
Gone to the bathroom and come back with spices the likes of which you've never seen.
But historically, that makes sense because I don't know if you guys knew this. All pirates originated out of Australia.
That is incorrect. That is totally incorrect. Historically incorrect.
You guys gonna listen to me or Crispy Boy over there?
I don't know, Doctor. That doesn't sound accurate.
Well, even though he doesn't have a clue who this chick is, Stig is up for some more hanky-panky. But unfortunately, she turns into an ooze-spitting demon and attacks him. Big, I guess this is where your beer comes in, Yaks. A big splat of goo shoots out of her mouth.
That's why I said I saw the can and it did make me just crack up after watching this movie. It's like, oh, I got to get that. I can't help it. Because apparently it's like, what will this one do? What if it spits something at him like the other 5 times in the movie? Okay.
Well, we cut and then a silent Stig coolly marches back into the bedroom and proceeds to, for once,
stick it to her.
Pleasure the hell out of Luann for well over a minute. Yes, he stigged it to her again.
The demon went for a minute and 5 seconds.
It's like, well, do you want to last a little bit longer? You got to become a demon. How much longer? Just then, a group of diehard Triton's female fans show up at the farmhouse to meet their musical idols. They're all members of the Mississauga branch of the Triton's fan club, and they're more than a little disappointed when manager Phil answers the door. Yeah, Phil's back now. They don't. He's just there. He tells them to show him their bazoomies, as he has 4.
Hey, don't we get a sorry in there?
A sorry, we totally got a sorry.
Sorry to bother you.
Oh, did the girl say sorry to bother you?
I caught a sorry in there.
Yes, I did as well.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to bother you.
I just got I lived in Mississauga for quite some time. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know that there was a Mississauga, the Triton's fan club branch there. I lived a rock. I could have been partying with these girls.
Doesn't sound
Where was I? Oh yeah, he tells them to show him all their bazumis, as he happens to have 4 openings for road groupies to help chop up the cocaine and keep the band's stage costumes neatly pressed. That actually doesn't sound like that bad a gig, to be honest.
Oh, it sounds pretty good.
You probably get to hang out in that fucking van.
I mean, apparently the van is incredibly roomy because it seated 10 people with no problem.
And all their gear.
Man, baby.
The girls are not feeling Phil, and they're not feeling any of this, somewhat surprisingly. They're also somewhat unsurprisingly not shocked when Phil gets angry and starts speaking in a deep demon voice. It doesn't even faze them. They're like, look, dude, we said we're not interested, all right?
If you're part of the Mississauga chapter of the Triton fan club, man, you've probably heard and seen a lot of weird shit. Some dude starts talking to you in some satanic guttural growl. You're probably like,
he also has a slimy green demon hand now, which that doesn't really seem to phase these chicks either. Mississauga chicks are wild. Nothing gets to them. Well, he ushers them into a side room, and that's that. No bazumis to show, no nothing. Another letdown. We don't get to see any kills in this movie. Everything happens in another room.
I thought they left. I thought they
the
front door.
Yeah, I thought
the front door. He ushers them in like, I need to talk to you girls in this other room. And then he kind of looks back at the camera with his demon hand, like, yeah, no, they don't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I missed that one. I'm with Tud. I thought they went back out the front door.
Yeah, I was like, that's very nice of the demon.
No, nobody escapes. Nobody escapes. And yeah. I'm going to have to do a relight here.
I've had my relight a few times.
My draw is just a little tight. Let me just get this going here.
I know I'm not smoking as near as fast as I normally should, but that's usually supposed to be a good thing when you slow down. But yeah, I've had to relight a few times.
There we go. So yeah, the movie kind of let me down with the lack of kills, and I mean, it's a horror movie, and it could be a really exploitive, over the top horror movie. I say that with a movie that features an army of one-eyed penis monsters. I really wish this movie would have gone for it. But no,
I just don't know exactly how your kill scenes with one-eyed penis monsters are going to go.
I would have liked to find out.
Just ramming them to death. I mean, that would have been fun. Like once.
Such a crispy boy thing to say. On the flip side, you know who never lets us down, boys?
Who's that?
Who's that?
Our buddies over at Drew Estate.
Oh, correct, you are.
And just in case you folks at home weren't listening to what I said just a little bit ago, I'm going to repeat this news about Drew Estate's latest creation. I'm going to go ahead and say it one more time. Listen close. Introduced during Freestyle Live Special Edition, the 20-acre farm by Drew Estate is a complex and medium-bodied cigar with super oaky and cedary notes, accompanied by a whisper of white pepper and bright hint of citrus. 20-acre farm is built using a velvety Ecuadorian Connecticut shade-grown wrapper, a sun-grown Habano binder, and a filler blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos from Esteli and Jalapa, blended with the opulent and majestic Florida sun-grown leaf, which is humbly and lovingly grown one harvest at a time by Jeff Borshowitz on a pristine 20-acre plot of land near the central Florida town of Claremont. We've been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, we have.
Not just to Florida, not just to Claremont, to this farm.
That's correct.
It's pretty cool. And while we're talking about pretty cool stuff, I'd also like to take a hot minute once again to tell you about something very cool called Cigar World. Cigar World's an online site for cigar smokers. There you can get cigar news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Also on the site is a cigar research panel called the Testing Lab. You can sign up to give your input on new cigars by taking surveys and testing cigars. Check it out at cigarworld.com/testing lab. Doctor, what's your opinion on surveys? I seem to remember you not being a big fan of those.
Actually, I hate to be contrary of nature, but I actually am a fan of survey results. It just depends on how thorough the survey is. Has it reached enough respondents for the data to be worthwhile? Because you could, if you survey only a small group of people, your results really could be random or not tell the whole story. But yeah, I enjoy a good survey actually.
Okay. All right. I learned something about you tonight.
It's not Ducker style to do any learning.
I'm breaking all the rules tonight, man. You guys just sit back and enjoy the ride. Well, the next morning, the girls are doing dishes. I'm sure Phil's not dead or anything, or he would have called, reasons Mary unreasonably. What the what? I had to listen to that 3 times to make sure I wasn't. I'm sure Phil's not dead or anything, or he would have called.
That's right. That's right.
Man,
hey, I just wanted to let y'all know I'm dead. It's fine. Everything's fine.
If Phil would have been dead or something, he would have let us know.
Sorry, guys. There was a wait into heaven. So once I got in, I could use the phone. Terribly sorry. Probably were worried.
Look, I'm actually third in line here at the pearly gates. I don't have time for anything. Just put Crispy Boy on the phone. I got to talk to him fucking now. Put him on the phone.
I do like the aspect of and I guess we're not nitpicking. I mean, this movie is what it is, but I mean, just I do kind of like that aspect of you've gone somewhere supposedly secluded, but we'll forget that the interstate is nearby, and one of your party goes missing, and then everybody just goes to bed. The next morning, you're still not worried.
Yeah.
Hey, if he was dead, he would have called.
I mean,
Randy isn't too concerned either, but she quickly ducks out of the kitchen as Mary's new husband, Roger Ebert, struts in. And do you think they've named him that? Like maybe Roger Ebert would go easy on him reviewing the film if they named a character after Roger Ebert?
Or maybe even just try to pay attention to the film.
Yeah.
Even Robert Ebert shits on this film. It's still Roger Ebert. It'll get us noticed. Yeah. All publicity is good publicity.
Just did not get
I'm sure Ebert was thinking, you know what I hate more than anything? The letter U. How dare they put that in my name?
Randy gets out of there as Mary's new husband, Roger Ebert, struts in and starts groping his wife. He explains, and they're newlyweds because they say it every 5 seconds. I love being a newly married woman. I love you being my newly married wife.
I love being newly married.
I love being newly married.
Look at us newly doing dishes. It's wonderful.
He explains, Roger explains he can't control his impulses. Seeing her do domestic stuff like washing the dishes, well, he says, my boner just can't help itself. Is that a condition, doctor?
Well, in certain parts of the Canadian provinces on the East Coast, I have heard such things. Yes, I don't know if it's true. My God, though, think of the implications of that. I mean, every nerve fiber in your genitalia would be on fire with feeling.
And it's leading you into
the dishes into that condition.
If you can't control your boner just watching a woman do dishes, I mean that could get out of hand fast.
But the good thing is that it results in clean dishes. I mean that's foreplay, and next thing you know, you go do what you do, and you come back and you got clean dishes.
They've only been there less than 12 hours, and we already have had 2 dishwashing scenes.
Well, I mean, you can only go back to the van so often.
She tells him to go get her a fresh dish towel, which gets him attacked down the hallway by a demon. We just see an arm reach out and grab him. And then that demon comes in the kitchen and pulls Mary out as well. Oh, but they had the Tritons, one of their rock songs playing on a little radio, and then we see the demon arm come back in the kitchen and stop the music. Everything they do, they listen to their own music. Like there's constantly in the house, they're just listening to their own stuff.
Well, they're there to record an album, right? They're doing recording sessions. They want to play their own stuff, see how it sounds.
They're practicing, yeah.
Of all the things we could pick out, I guess that's not so ridiculous, right?
I guess not. Well, we learned earlier that, Bill's not a big fan of listening to his own music because all he hears is the mistakes. But maybe that's what these guys are trying to do, hear the mistakes so they can fix them. I think we're giving way too much thought into the Triton's creative process.
Well, John Triton has been in his bedroom all night, not having sex, reading Kierkegaard. So what have you
Oh, such a thinker, a philosopher, a rocking warrior poet.
So now we have Phil, Stig, Roger, and Mary Ebert all falling prey to whatever it is in the house that's evil. We're given absolutely nothing to work with here. There's just some type of demon or demons hanging around who can possess people, apparently. Because once he grabs you, you show back up and you're just kind of this flat affect kind of.
Even if you've already had somebody bite you.
Yeah.
You come back intact. You're fine, yeah.
And apparently a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Just like me. Well, Ducker, not Cade. I'm playing a character.
It'll be up to our viewers to interpret that.
Shove it up my ass, Doc.
Oh, that's your.
I thought Yak straightened it out.
Yeah, sorry. 9% ABV. Give me a break.
Ducker wouldn't have made a mistake like that.
He sure wouldn't have, Crispy. You know the score.
He would not. Out in the barn.
I've spent many a journey with Ducker, and you, sir. Ducker.
No Ducker. All right, I'll change my Zoom name. I'm just gonna leave it blank. I don't need a name anymore.
The point there is, if you get possessed by a demon, you're not fooling Crispy Boy.
Oh hell no.
Well, I mean,
if
you're a sexual tyrannosaurus, it's probably easy to get over on me.
Yeah, if you got some gazungas or whatever Phil called them, some bazoomies.
Some bazoomies? What? All right, Canada's a little odd. It's all right.
It's a Canadian thing.
Is it? Yeah.
I remember
along with being dead and being able to use the phone. Apparently, is something our friends north of the border can do.
Yeah.
God, what wonderful people they are.
Out in the, I remember I used to get occasionally dragged out when I was living up there. I was just kind of desperate for some friends, and these guys would go to those, what do they call those clubs where the women take their clothes off? Strip clubs. They would drag me
to those against your will.
They would drag me there, and I remember they'd be like, they'd stop and ask the door guy, like, how are the bazoomies tonight? You gotta be like, not bad. Like, all right.
Oh, you won't be sorry.
You will not be sorry.
Now, see, here's a perfect opportunity to tie things together. Let's let our fans take a survey and tell us which part of that story is not true.
Oh, I thought you were going to have our fans take a survey. Which do you prefer, bazoomies or gazungas?
No, which part of Ducker's story was inaccurate?
We should have like a March Madness of like bazoomies, gazungas, bazungas, jugs, tatas, and just run it.
Well, see, in Animal House, I'm pretty sure, and Yax, help me out here because you're as familiar with that movie as I am. I'm pretty sure at one point they say gazoomies.
Gazoomies.
That is correct.
Wow. Gazoomies? Gazoomies.
And then at one point, Tim Matheson's character is giving Peter Rieger's character a hint of the girl he's going out with that night. And he's all, well, I'm going to give you a hint. She's got a pair of Major League Yabos.
Yabos.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in Mississauga, it's all about the bazoomies. Wasn't that a Puff Daddy song all about the bazoomies?
Yeah, baby.
I believe it was, yes.
That was the P. Diddy remix he did with Crispy Boy.
Yabos.
Out in the barn, the band starts jamming their high energy song called, well, Energy. That's the name of the song. You give me energy.
You give me energy.
Without Roger, the bass player, John Triton waits for no man to rock. He grabs Roger's headless bass guitar and just starts wailing. Hey, you want to wait for Roger? No, let's do this. And man, they deliver a fucking hell of a performance. Randy and Luann can't believe how well Stig is playing the drums, as usually he sucks. But this morning he's on fire. I feel like a changed man, he says in a flat, robotic, non-Australian voice, and nobody notices. Because I mean, usually he would, be like, I like to play me drums. And now he's not talking anything like that.
We'll sail around the horn and bring back guitars the likes of which you've never seen.
Was that better? Was my Australian?
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed it.
The doctor's Australian accent was spot on.
Dude, he literally doesn't go back to that Australian accent, and it just shows you how invested in their relationship Luann is. She never asks him why he's not talking with an accent anymore. He just whatever.
Well, after he added those 10 seconds to their lovemaking, I mean, why would you question it?
Yeah,
Dude, that's 70 minutes of sex put her on a level of bliss. She's not questioning anything anymore.
Fair enough. He pulls. Speaking of
She's
that,
probably like, "Oh, I knew it was a demon all along." But I mean, come on, what do you expect a girl to do?
well, she. Speaking of them getting
13 penis monsters joined in last night. You think I didn't notice that?
That's the wrong.
Oh man, turned up the heat and got crispy in here all of a sudden.
I'm getting the duck out of here. The possessed Stig pulls Luann away for some more steamy action. None of the one-eyed penis monsters ever participate in any of the sexual trysts. Is that the word?
Until we
Iris?
get our hands on the director's.
Exactly.
You got one of the. You got like the. All right, babe. Listen, just hear me out. I know we've experimented a little bit back in San Diego over the summer in the van, but just bear with me on this. Come on in, boys. This little penis guys waddle in.
That horrible synth sound comes in. Oh, oh, oh.
Don't say no yet. And one of them had like a little tuft of like gray hair. Like it was so bizarre. Okay. Randy then, since Stig is pulling Luann away for some steaminess, Randy then tries once again to get John Triton to loosen up and make sweet love to her. Well, I guess we can take a break. The guys after all are studio ready. Then why the hell are you up here for 5 weeks if they're studio ready? That was the whole point. You've only had one song. You guys have only played one song together. I guess we got our shit together. Let's just.
There's a difference between studio ready and show ready.
Randy
tells their studio. Isn't this what they're doing? Their recording.
That's what I thought. They had to record 10 more minutes of music or they lose their contract.
Yeah, whatever that means. Randy tells Triton that all the other couples are off somewhere screwing, and she asks if that gives him any ideas. Yeah, it does, Randy. I need to start working on that new love song.
Tolstoy's War and Peace.
I figured it would be more like 101 Ways of How to Lock Up Your Van for Dummies.
The Vapor Lock Bible.
Yeah, he's gonna pass on the lovemaking. He's gonna work on writing that new love song. as he gently pushes her away. This dude is all about the music, fellas. He's a true artist, and chicks don't know how to deal with us artist types sometimes.
And I liked Randy. As
Yeah,
far as
she was supportive.
80s chicks goes, I could have some fun with Randy.
And I'm not just saying that because she did the dishes. She like kept track of all his folders and journals and stuff. Like she was there to like help him in his creative process. Although I think maybe if he didn't finally give in, that she might be looking for those little one-eyed penis monsters who would. As Max and Dee Dee finally join their lustful bodies together. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Tut, is it true that keyboard players are notoriously bad in bed?
Yes.
He didn't even try to defend himself. Come on, Crispy. Stand up for yourself.
Poor little crispy boy.
Actually, we're really good. We're the horn dogs of the band.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, it's actually true.
Okay.
Now we like angry sex, but that's you gotta give it. I mean, you gotta give and take.
Oh, man. That's something so much more innocent than mine. I miss American pie. No crispy boy to the levee, but the levee was fire.
Crispy boy's firing on all cylinders tonight.
Them crispy boys were sitting around drinking whiskey and rum.
Stig takes Luann out to a nearby pond. She takes her top off, and then he unbuttons his shirt, hunches over, and a giant demon hand bursts through his belly and grabs Luann's boob.
He didn't stick it to her.
He did not stick it to anybody. Max and Dee Dee hear Luann's screams of agony, but just brush it off. It's the second time one of their friends, it's nothing.
And they were like, oh no, Stig, they're really going at it. And I'm like, there's a difference between lovemaking screams and someone being ripped to shreds screams.
Not in Mississauga.
Not in Mississauga.
And they're probably used to whenever because they had the room next to Stig and Luann, they're probably used to hearing a lot of "arr." Arr, she blows.
I went down south of the 38th parallel.
Boomerang. Mel Gibson.
Koala bear. Boomerang.
Outback Steakhouse.
Kangaroos.
See, I know Australian stuff. Bloomin' onions.
Bloomin' onions. Crocodile Dundee.
Foster's.
Rugby.
See? So yeah, they just totally blow off the screams. Speaking of lust, a lot of that going around this crazy farm. Randy is finally Randy enough that she just strips down naked in front of John Triton, and he reluctantly puts down his songwriting journal and gets in the shower with her.
No, as Tut pointed out, that was David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest. He puts that down.
It's a fairly long shower sex scene. And was I the only one that occasionally think to myself, like, nice ass? And then they'd pan up and it was John Triton's ass. He had that long, wet blonde hair. No, I'm the only one, man.
What a supple backside. Oh God, it's John Michael Thor. Dude, this thing almost bordered on softcore. It went on forever.
I couldn't keep track of whose body parts were whose.
Classic.
But yeah, I wouldn't say softcore because you never really saw anything below the waist, but it just went on. It was the longest shower. And of course, with the shower sex was set to the Triton song, Somewhere. It's like a love ballad.
Well, they thought, you know what? We need more filler, and we already show. How much of this goddamn van can we show? You guys are gonna have to get in the shower for 10 minutes.
Would be weird if they're showering in the van.
They should have
Actually,
made
that
love.
would be awesome.
They should have made love in the van. It should have been a van sex
Best
scene.
elements we have here: Triton's ass. I mean, Brandy's ass, and the van.
See, I knew the doctor looked at that tight little Triton ass and thought the same thing I did.
Matter of fact, the editor is like, "Where's Brandy's ass? I mean, shouldn't we put a little bit more of that?" And Triton's like, "No, this is good. This is
You
good.
got gold right here. You don't mess with that."
This is real good. I did 75 squat thrusts that morning just to get ready for the shower scene.
Cut her. Every now and again, you can cut to her breast, but this is the moneymaker right here.
As Max and Dee Dee are getting dressed, I'm sorry. Isn't that Max and Dee Dee, the keyboard player, were doing it? Yeah.
Also went on forever.
Yeah. They had a different Triton song playing while they were doing it too. That's like a speech he gave the opening night. Like, look, we're all adults here. I don't care if you guys want to get into some hanky panky. Just make sure that my voice is singing a song in the room while you're doing whatever you're doing.
It would have been a good scene to like, he can't possibly hear it, and they change tapes, and he comes, kicks the door, and that's Kenny Loggins. Ah!
See you out in the van.
I'll be unlocking it.
Give me 15.
Down there in 14 minutes of screen time.
Give me 15 minutes to go unlock the van, and then we'll talk in the back. Triton, you ready for me? I'm still unlocking the van. Okay. As Max and Dee Dee are getting dressed, a little boy peeks his head into the bedroom because why the hell not? There's a little boy here all of a sudden. Remember in Black Roses, one of the teenage girls had a little brother who was possessed by the Black Roses band, and he was throwing his action figures in the fireplace and melting them, and like,
Yes.
That's the same little kid.
Oh yeah,
that little actor is in both these movies.
I thought it was meant to be the boy from the first of the movie.
Maybe.
I couldn't tell. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be Crispy Boy. I don't know. You're so gonna regret buying that fucking beer.
I think it's a cool name.
Cool name. They chased the boy.
It sounds like The Outsiders. What you up to, Crispy Boy?
Just phony boy. Crispy, you spoke more in the pack today, and I'm gonna kill you. It's Crispy Boy in Dallas. You're totally going into your bedroom tonight, looking at your wife, going, "Crispy Boy's here."
She's all, what are you turning on? You're all, it's Ducker. His new thing is that we have to listen to his voice on the podcast whenever we make love. Who's Ducker? Oh, that's Cade's new name. I'm Crispy Boy. He's Ducker. And just go with it. Whenever we make love, I got to queue up an old show and listen to him introduce cigars.
I put up with a lot of things in this marriage.
That's when
Baby, when did you start sounding like Polly Walnuts? The moment you said we had to listen to Ducker.
That's when Mrs. Crispy Boy runs out and unlocks the van and gets the hell out of it.
I think you should talk like Polly, though. Hey, my name is Crispy Boy. Listen, asshole. Oh, Crispy Boy.
My name's...
They chased the little boy down the stairs, and then he runs outside and disappears into the barn. When they finally corner the tiny little bastard, he immediately transforms into a growling, wrinkled demon and attacks the two lovebirds. Again, we don't get to see any of the violence. It's all played out in a silhouette against the barn wall, which is getting really predictable and really super lame at this point. I get it, low budget, but you could do something to show some blood. I mean, it's a horror movie, man.
Especially in 1987, when the standards aren't as exacting as they are today, and when you go back and look at like the Friday the 13th that we know and love. So they had bigger budget. They were low budget relative to other movies. They had bigger budgets than this by far. But what you can do with just some, mixing up some chocolate syrup and food dye and make yourself some blood, and you could add some even lame ass stuff that was better than that. I'm with you on that one.
There was hardly any low budget movie as low budget as, and I'm going to mention it soon. I can't believe I haven't already. The first Evil Dead, same thing. A bunch of people trapped out in the woods and with no money, look what they did. And it's like, it's not that much. If you can make a one-eyed penis monster, you can make a fake arm and chop it off and get some blood splurting around,
They had some ingenuity with those actual visual effects that you saw, as cheesy and as kind of hilarious as they were. That took some doing. You could have done something a little bit better there, yeah.
Yeah, it did take some doing. I think that's the highest praise we'll give this movie tonight. There's some stuff in there. There's some stuff in there that took some doing.
Took some doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing too. It wasn't necessarily, nothing was played for laughs except those one-eyed penis monsters. Like everything else,
they were actually supposed to be scary.
Were they? Because they played little jokey kind of music whenever they were around, and
and the little voice.
But I think they were supposed to be like the creepy type thing, and you're like, you're not.
Oh, God bless you, Thor.
Later that night, Triton and Randy sit alone at dinner. And that's the other thing, too. They got this 5 weeks in this farmhouse, and there's no kitchen table. They have to sit on the floor in the living room around this coffee table. But they had it set for everybody, and they're the only two there staring at a bunch of empty, unused plates. Enough is enough already, Triton complains. How are we supposed to rehearse our new material and get ready to tour if nobody's here? It's a fair question.
Yes, legit.
I thought we were supposed to come out here and do stuff together. Everybody left.
How did they leave? There's no van.
Look, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. He finally reasons again. This is like, hey, if Phil was dead, he would have called us. He finally reasons again, completely unreasonably. Oh, you know what? Phil must have come back after all this time while we were humping in the shower, and then he gathered everybody in a van and drove them away. That's probably what happened.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, granted, they were doing the shower for like 3 hours. So, I mean, I guess that could have been. But what? We get to watch
Also,
Triton.
that farmhouse has the largest water heater ever.
Well, I think he had his muscular back to the water stream. I think if the water got cold, he was protecting his lady from from that. So
He was kind of like one of those old fashioned windmills. I mean, his back generated power. It made its own water.
did you see those lat muscles? We get to watch
bigger muscles when I sailed to the South Seas. The tortoises of the Galapagos Islands were.
Hey Tut, you know where an Australian's favorite place to eat is?
Where's that?
Arby's.
Oh boy. No, that's not an Australian, Cade. Once again, that's a pirate.
Oh yeah, right. Australian pirates. Got it. Well, we get to watch Triton wash dishes now for a while. This is our 5th dishwashing sequence in the film, which we've not really seen anybody eat anything, but there's a lot of dishes to be done.
You think that was in post-production too? We've already used the van too much. Just go wash some dishes.
And when he grabs a Coke from the fridge, there's a whole cooked chicken on the top shelf that has one protruding eyeball sticking out of it and some sharp teeth that tries to unsuccessfully bite our lead singer. This is where I was this is where I was reminded of the Evil Dead films. In those films, you had all this random, strange, scary shit happening, but it was explained via the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
In Rock and Roll Nightmare, we get nothing. Oh, look, it's a moaning rotisserie chicken with fangs. Great. Like there's just no backstory. There's no reasoning for any of this nonsense. And don't get me wrong, I like kind of esoteric things that aren't overly explained, but
There has to be at least the thread of explanation.
Look, boys, Thor's not going to hold your hand on this, okay? He expects you to keep up.
It's so true.
Hey, did you ever have a bad experience with some Mississauga chicken?
Man, they had this one chain restaurant there. It was called the Swiss Chalet, and that was their specialty, was rotisserie chicken. And I was late one night after hitting the bars. Me and about 5 or 6 one-eyed penis monsters strolled in there, ordered up about a half dozen rotisserie chickens, and I don't think I need to tell you, Crispy Boy, it was one hell of a night.
No, you don't.
Classic duck.
Only the chalet chicken would do for me.
That is classic Ducker Duck. It is classic Ducker. Oh, that was my first introduction. You know what? At Swiss Chalet, every time you'd eat there, at the end they'd bring you the Toblerone bars.
Yes,
those real giant chocolate bars. That was like your fortune cookie at a Chinese restaurant. You'd eat your rotisserie chicken, they'd give you a Toblerone bar. It was kind of weird. Well, on that same note, we follow Triton out to the barn so he can make some progress on that love song he's been working on. And while he's sitting there composing, another one of those one-eyed penis-shaped monsters tries to get him unsuccessfully. Triton is so focused on songwriting, he sets his Coke can down on top of one of these penis monsters and doesn't even notice. That's how deeply focused he is on this damn love song. And then a weird pterodactyl-looking creature tries to fling itself at Triton right as he drops his pencil and it flies over his head.
I mean, he was writing on his Big Chief pad and, just drops that, elementary school pencil. And
Tud, as a musician, were you surprised that when Triton is working on his love songs, he's not writing lyrics, he was actually writing notes?
I know. Nobody does this.
Does anybody do that?
No, you would at the most you would write like what's called a bar chord system, to where it'd be like 4, 5, 2 minor. It's all like notation. It's not you don't have your staff paper out there writing the 8th note with the filigree there.
Right, Triton does.
He's hardcore, and that's probably what makes Triton.
Geez, if only we had a musician on the show, we could have picked his brains.
We could have asked Bill Gould, and he'll be like, "That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard."
Or he would have totally put Crispy Boy in his place. That's how we wrote every single Faith No More song. Notes first.
He probably would have.
It's like, everything in here is legit. I too would stop to read Gravity's Rainbow during a recording session.
Do you have any idea how many dishes I washed during the recording of King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime? I was always on dishes duty. No, you know what? Thank God I didn't. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should give Bill the whole show experience and ask him to watch this movie and stick around for the whole show. I think that would have been a very different. I would never do that to a fine man like Bill Gould.
The ditches are green tonight.
He didn't do anything to deserve this.
No.
So where was I? Oh, the monster jumping at him and he ducks. After a brief encounter with the mysterious little boy back at the farmhouse, Randy shows up at the barn. In a deep voice, she tells Triton, "You have to stop pretending that anyone is coming back alive. They're all dead. There's no way out of here. Well, except, for the interstate that runs right behind the farm. But pretend that, no one's picking up hitchhikers these days." And he doesn't flinch that she has this new deep demonic voice. Triton just laughs her off, which really pisses her off. In fact, it angers her to the point in which a bright red light surrounds her, and boom, she turns into a large black praying mantis looking monster. "Nice effect, Randy," Triton smiles. "I like your new look." The monster tells Triton, at this point, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, huh?
The monster tells Triton to prepare to die as it summons a handful of those penis-shaped thingies to help him kill the interloper. I don't know how much help those dongy little demons will be, though, as they're incredibly slow, and one is just hanging out smoking a cigarette at the other end of the thing. Hey, 154 episodes. I never mentioned a dongy demon before. That surprises me for some reason.
Check the archives on that.
Yeah, I have to go back to the Fuck Manicus and see what.
Oh yeah, there was a dongy demon or two in that one. The head demon once again warns Triton, "I'm going to kill you just like I killed all your friends." "You didn't kill anybody, bub." "Or should I call you Beelzebub?" Triton asks. Oh snap! Here we go. Get ready, boys. You see, it turns out that John Triton is actually an ass-kicking intercessor, or for you noobs, an archangel.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Who created his imaginary bandmates, Phil, and the groupies, all as mere shadows to occupy Satan's minions and eventually lure the Prince of Darkness out into the open. They never existed. There was no Phil. There was no band. There was no groupies. They were just illusions that Triton based on his favorite horror movie characters.
Wait. Are you telling me there was no van?
No van.
Oh, it's too good to be true.
Actually, no, that's not true, because when the demon is still Randy and she's like, "You're never getting out of here," and he's like, "What are you talking about? The van's parked outside."
Oh, yes.
The van existed.
Okay.
The van existed.
All right.
But dude, when he tells Satan that he based all these illusions on his favorite horror movie characters, Satan goes, "Oh, yes, that's where I saw that nerdy bass player before." That's what Lucifer says, to which Triton's like, "Yeah, he was in that one with the guy in the hockey mask." Oh, my God. A bright white light shines down on Triton, and just like that, his hair is now all frizzed out. He's got mascara on. He's wearing black leather wristbands and a metal-studded bikini bottom loincloth, and his nearly naked body's all oiled up somehow. And he just starts flexing his biceps.
I never saw Khan in a horror movie, but let's go.
I don't know about you boys. I noticed those biceps in that shower scene. That's the first time I was like, yeah, I was hoping he was going to do something with those later on.
What do you think would happen if I went to the gym like that tomorrow? I just have a black bikini with chainmail on it, and I'm all walking in there covered in coconut oil. My body, I'm all.
I think you're going to meet some interesting people.
They're probably going to go, "Hey, you get the Mickle Thor discount. First one in years."
They're dragging him out of the gym. "I know Crispy Boy. Call Crispy Boy." Oh, and I forgot this important thing. He's wearing a fucking cape. He's got a fucking cape.
You have to.
So he's got frizzed out.
Wear a chainmail covered bikini. You may as well have a cape.
He's got frizzed out blonde hair. He's wearing a cape. He's either ready to kick some fucking ass or play rhythm guitar in Vixen. He's down for something. So as a rocking tune fires up, even his fight scenes are set to his own music.
Of course.
And of course, Thor did all the music for the film. These two old foes, Lucifer and the Archangel, begin battling it out. Satan is flinging a bunch of these four-legged suction cup creatures at Triton like slimy green boomerangs. I'm sorry, slimy green boomerangs.
Boomerangs.
Is that better?
Yeah. The only thing he caught one and said, "That's not a boomerang.
That's not a
boomerang."
Oh, and get this. 2 of those things actually leech onto our hero's chest, but Triton ain't going out like no sucker. He rips those motherfuckers off him and tears them to pieces. And then charges Satan, and they get into a grappling battle. It reminded me of, remember that slap game in Jaws 3 they played at the bar, where they would just kind of hold hands and like circle around each other? That's what Triton standoff. There you go. That's what Triton and Lucifer do for like what, 4 minutes of screen time? They
shove each other's hands.
Well, there was a fight. I think it might have been 4 minutes because I think the stars chewed up 2.5 of him like pretending to pull it off of his chest.
Oh yeah, that was a long one too. And then after he got him off his chest, he like did some flex, like a chest flex. So they spin around in circles for several minutes, and it's just as exhilarating and suspenseful as it sounds. Eventually, Triton can sense our boredom as viewers, so he starts reaching up and slugging the devil and punching him in his enormous arachnid face. Then he starts choking Satan. He just grabs him by the throat and choking him out until the Prince of Pain finally surrenders. You win this time, Triton. This place is yours. The devil screams as a bright flash appears, which seemed like it was just a Roman candle held under the camera lens. It was totally just a firework they put under there. And poof, he's gone. Good defeats evil once again. Fuck yeah, the end. But wait, it actually wasn't the end. There was a strange scene of Triton at a cemetery in the dark that had no context and made zero sense. So I just skipped over that. And then the film ended with a bizarre, even for this movie, prologue where the camera just stayed focused on a random house out in the suburbs for like a couple minutes. And then it just kind of backed out of the driveway. And that was the end.
Well, you hear some chick screaming. It was like setting up, because you can never truly defeat evil, boys. You can only contain it. You can only make it go into the darkness, but eventually it does come back.
It was very poetic, Crispy Boy.
That's right.
So yeah, he did not defeat Satan, but he did get him to say he'll go away for a little while. And at least the farmhouse, he said, was yours. So the next band that comes in maybe won't have to deal.
If they wanted to end this movie, it needed to be ending Crispy Boy in the van, eating a microwave burrito on the CB, telling us about the pillars of heaven. Maybe one of the little penis monsters clinging to the bumper of the van.
The next time
I'm telling you, if one of those penis monsters says, "Crispy Boy, have you paid your dues?" You just look them square in the eye and say, "Yes, sir. The check is in the mail."
It's a dark and stormy night, and a one-eyed penis has got your favorite head up against the back of a barroom wall. You look him square in the eye, and you tell him what old Crispy Boy does on a dark and stormy night.
I love that. You look right into his one eye.
You look into his one eye on top of his penis. You tell him what old Crispy Boy says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Crispy Boy?
Oh.
Do that whole movie over again? You know the whereabouts of a Crispy Boy? You leave Crispy Boy alone.
You leave Crispy Boy alone.
You've shown great courage.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure this nickname will dissipate quickly, Tut.
Shut up, Crispy Boy. You were not brought upon this earth to get it.
Certainly,
Whoa,
you know
a crispy boy.
Certainly, you know the problems that exist with between a man and a one-eyed penis monster.
Oh, come on, Ducker. I'm just a poor crispy boy.
So, did you guys like Rock and Roll Nightmare?
No.
Yes. Yes.
It was actually all jokes aside. There's a lot worse ways to spend 80 minutes.
There is, and I mean,
Does anybody else
Having
feel like we've had so much fun with this?
I know. See, that's
had a lot of fun here tonight with this fucking movie.
I'm feeling really centered.
What could be better? 6 penis-eyed monster bag?
We've poked a lot of holes in this thing. We poked a lot of fun at this thing, but Todd, you said at the beginning that these people weren't bad actors.
No.
The dialogue they were given was just ridiculously bad, but we've seen a lot worse.
Here's the one I'm kind of like, because I don't know any of the background of this or anything, but if Thor pulled together some money because he wanted to make a movie where he played the protagonist and wanted to have fun with it, and as long as he wasn't trying to take it too seriously, then I'm not going to crap on it too much. And I had an enormous amount of fun talking with it, or talking to you guys about it. So that in itself is worth something. I'm trying to think of because I always say, as long as the movie has heart, then I can forgive a lot. And I'm just trying to figure out whether this movie had heart or not.
I think it did.
I thought it did. Sincere. I felt the word that came to me was that, and obviously it's a shitty movie, but the word that came to me was like, this was sincere.
Okay,
it had sincerity to it.
It really did have a sincerity to it, and I think a lot of that comes from Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not hamming it up in that final scene in that bikini.
Oh no, he's legit. He's trying to be legit.
He made a conscious decision to say, I need a studded bikini brief. I'm going to wear this. I have to do it justice.
And it's hard to disrespect that. Yeah,
it was fun. And it was a total Tuesday Night Cigar Club movie to do for our big rock and roll show. It doesn't get much more rock and roll than this show. I want to thank again Bill Gould for dropping in and just blowing us away.
Was that?
One, blowing us away with his awesome spirit. Yebiga. The Perva, the oak barrel aged plum brandy was just, as if we didn't say it enough, a spectacular sipping spirit. It went so good with the cigar. I'm really excited to pair it with some other things. But he really has brought a really cool, unique beverage to the marketplace. But just on top of that, just that he indulged us in, so many cool stories from his life and his touring, his travels. Man, best guest ever, as far as I'm concerned. So
I'll second that. We've had some awesome guests on here too.
Yeah, we have. I'm not taking it away from any of those guys, but it was just super, super cool. So I want to thank Bill once again. Go to the Yebiga website. You can order a bottle. You get it at your house, like at your door. It was delivered like 3 days later. Try it.
I did not know this. So instead of waiting for them to secure an Austin distributor, I can go to their website and try out both of them, the Perva and the Bella. Nice.
Yes. The only thing I would keep an eye on Bill's social media, because occasionally I missed it, but he'll do a free shipping promo code. because that's where it gets you. The bottle itself, I think, was like $45, which is great price point, but it was like $20 to ship it because they use like the bar cart format. So that's just I'm all about free shipping. I hate paying for shipping for anything. So I'm going to keep as soon as he does another one of those free shipping things, I'm going to stock up. Cause yeah, man, it's just such a smooth, easy sip and drink. And I really excited to try pairing it with some other smokes, especially some smokes that I know, not mystery, like the Crowned Heads, but like I'm really curious to fire it up with the League of Nine and see how that plays.
Yeah, League of Nine. I've got some Blackworks stuff that I'd like to try with it. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there that I think that would match perfectly with this.
So thank you,
aficionado, but brandy would seem to be in the classic aesthetic of enjoying the finer things in life, something that really goes with cigars.
See, and yes, you're correct, Doc. And the thing that I like about that, or especially about Yebiga, is the story behind it. It's Serbian. It's not high society. It's family. It's like, it's basically moonshine, except there's like a 1% of masters of Serbia who take their moonshine and make it just exquisite. And that's what he's bringing back, is the exquisiteness of it. And man, it is a great pairing. I can't see many cigars that wouldn't pair nicely with this, but they have to have flavor to them. You can't be getting some run of the mill weak sauce cigars up there. Otherwise, the Yebiga is going to push it around. Yeah. But man, there's a lot of open doors with this thing.
And to your point, Doc, another thing that's kind of separates it is a lot of those brandies are overly sweet and kind of could kill a cigar with that sweetness. Whereas basically his rakia there's nothing in it but water and plums. It's twice distilled. The Perva we did tonight was aged, I think, 18 months in oak barrels, and it was so unique. But the sweetness wasn't syrupy or over the top. It wasn't a Cavassier, you know what I mean? It wasn't. It was really unique. I'm really interested to get your spin on it, Doc, next time you're down. So yeah, thank you, Billy, for kicking off our rock and roll episode in the most perfect, beautiful way. The rock and roll cigar, the Eddie Van Halen tribute, the CHC Serie E. Pretty straightforward. A nice peppery strength on the nose. Dr. Wars Van Halen shirt tonight. How rock and roll is that? Had some leather and earth. It was kind of a straightforward leather and earth profile. Very nice profile. I want to say we never did talk price point on it. I think it was $11.50. I think that's a bit much for what that cigar.
Yeah, I would have said, if you'd asked me price, I was probably going to say about 10, maybe 10.25. Max.
Yeah, I mean, if it's overpriced, it's only overpriced by $1 or $2.
Really?
Yeah, because it was straightforward. I mean, it was a straightforward cigar, but it had identifiable flavors. They were mixed and paired, or they were stacked nicely.
Construction was great.
Yeah, and it just. I don't know if I'd pay $11.50 for it, but like Yak Boy said, I wouldn't mind paying $10.50 for it.
Like I said, that that pepper stayed with me. I mean, I like I said, I was hoping it was going to build up, but after I got past that halfway point, it never really went anywhere else. It just kind of stuck in there. The aromas on the cold draw, everything, from start to finish for me. It was good.
Like it was good. We real quick, we never talked price point on our second cigar that we're still puffing on here, the Guardian of the Farm Apollo. Tut, what are you thinking on this one?
I'd stick around that $10.99 mark.
You know what? I'm gonna go 950.
I'm gonna go, and I forget what it was. It was earlier this afternoon when I did all my research on it. Classic Ducker. I'm gonna go $8.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Oh, it is 8. I hit it on the head. $8.
Classic Tucker.
Dude, I would smoke this over that Crowned Heads any day.
Yeah, I agree. This guy, mainly just because I like the little marshmallow, the cinnamon coming across the retro hell, and then you can't beat the price point. I mean that's good.
Hey, we've had to do some relights. It's got a little bit of a tight draw, but for when it's burning nicely and that complexity and flavors and that spice kind of came and went throughout the retro hail. Got a little bit bolder there in the midway point and then kind of went down and back up again. This is a cool cigar. I like it a lot.
Let me ask you guys this. At this point, if you can purchase a cigar for $8 that you smoke for damn near 2 hours, hour and a half, and maybe it doesn't knock your socks off, but it's better than a meh. It's like, it had some things to recommend it. If you can get a cigar for that, even if your review of it is not overwhelmingly positive, but still, you put it in this is good enough. If you can get a cigar for $8 that matches that, aren't you winning the day on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh yeah. And
I always put it in a thing of like, hey, if I'm going to sit somewhere for 2 hours and I have some drinks, if I'm at some place and I order a drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks, I'm sitting here going, what did I pay for this cigar versus what have I paid for drinks? And I'm sitting here going, cigars always ends up being actually cheaper than the drinks.
Yeah, because it's about value, right? Yeah, because I mean, if you light up a $20 cigar, you're expecting that thing to knock your goddamn brain out. I mean, so if you're, I would consider $8 at this point relatively cheap, unless it's just no good. I mean, would you guys agree?
It's definitely a win. It's definitely a win.
Yeah, I should mention I saw this on the wrapper as I was taking the cellophane off. This was Cigar Aficionado's number 8 cigar in their top 25 list of 2017. So 5 years ago, this one cracked the top 10.
Okay,
nice.
I guess.
And I could see it because actually, if there wasn't the draw issue, if this thing just burned beautifully and drew perfectly, man. Anytime you're giving me a intermixed cinnamon and pepper retro with this commingling leather and cedar with some marshmallow and mineral, I mean, just saying it for $8, yeah.
That to me is the key. I mean, like, forget Cigar Aficionado's rating. I mean, that's obviously something that a lot of people read. It's important to them, but everything's subjective. So when you just put it at, everything's about value. So you were talking about, the brandy at $45. I mean, people pay $100 for bottles of hooch that you drink it and you're like, okay, it was good, but was it $100? So that's why $45 for something that you really enjoy, like that's good value. So when you start talking about the price points of so many cigars that you guys have done here, just even the last 2 years we've been on Zoom, $11, $12, whatever, you get to an $8 cigar, forget what the rating was. I mean, that's if it's decent, then that's good value.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna give this, the Guardian of the Farm, the nudge over the Crowned Heads as far as my winner of the night.
Oh, I agree.
And I'm gonna go ahead and give the Rakia my full endorsement as the beverage of the night. I mean, I love my IPAs, but man, it was such a unique pairing, that Rakia with the cigar. I want to do that more.
I am so looking forward to adding that to my cabinet.
I'm kind of like Bill, like I'm out of it and I want more. And
yes, very much so.
And you know what I was thinking too? I was like, that's a really just a cool story to introduce someone, you know, when someone's over at the house, instead of pulling out a bottle of scotch when you go out for a cigar, or, you know, grab some craft beers out of the fridge or some bourbon, to pull out a fucking bottle of that plum brandy. And you know their first impression is going to be like ours. Oh, fruit, brandy. And then they take a sip and they're like, especially if they're a scotch drinker, and like, oh, wow.
What the fuck?
There is a level of complexity there, which is really good. I mean, you know, whether or not irrelevant of what it's made. I mean, I would think like, hey, I would run towards someone who said, hey, it's made from plum, versus someone who's like, hey, vodka, it's made from potato. Like, really, potato? Come on.
Yeah.
Not thinking about complexity there. Thinking about French fries.
There's nothing complex about a potato. I think that might be the quote of the night.
Unless it's a Mississauga potato, then it might have an eyeball on it, and who knows?
Crispy boy knows.
He's the one you call crispy boy. He's the one you call make you feel all right. He's so crispy, he's insane. Crispy boy.
You know what? And it wouldn't work nearly as good if he didn't have that fucking cowboy hat on. and the puka shell necklace.
It makes it.
That is
Chasm shirt.
That is classic. Crispy boy. I almost called him Crusty Boy.
Classic crispy boy.
Oh, that's my porn name.
That's a whole nother thing. All right. Well, I hope you folks at home and in your cars and on airplanes and wherever you're checking us out, I hope you got a kick out of our rock and roll episode. I haven't had this much fun on a show in quite some time.
Fun show.
It's a very fun show, very educational show. I
tracked down Rock and Roll Nightmare, the director's cut. More van.
More van. Back to the van.
To the van.
The dishwasher cut.
Oh God. There's this one deleted scene I really am excited about. It's where Stig takes a break from the trap set and washes the lunch dishes. But yeah, this was fun. So thanks everybody for joining us. We did 420 the right and responsible way. We just got drunk. Rock and roll. Tut, give us some links.
Okay, man. So you want to join us up on Instagram at TNCC_podcast. You want to hit us up on Twitter at TNCCcast. Join us on Facebook, Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Definitely subscribe to us on YouTube at Tuesday Night Cigar Club. You will not be disappointed. You get to see all of our lovely faces. Hey, man, this especially jump in now because you get to hear some great stories and some good insight from the man Bill Gould, man. How cool is that? So look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. And you know what, I'll give him a shout out. Go if you're interested in sampling it, which after listening to the show now, why wouldn't you be? Go to Yebiga.com, which is awesome because basically Bill Gould owns fuckit.com.
That's what it translates to.
It translates to fuck it. So he is the he owns the domain of fuckit.com.
That's why I get that.
Which it just awesome. So there's the links. We will see you again here shortly. But in the meantime, may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. Thanks for tuning in. Sayonara, motherfuckers. We'll see you next time.
To learn more about the time I worked as a roadie on the 1985 Toto World Tour, wait, groupie. I was not a roadie, I was a groupie. Subtle difference, I suppose, for those who just won't ever get it. And by the way, Cade was right for once. Those guys really were the least horny band I have ever followed across the country. And that's saying something, because I spent a considerable amount of time in the 90s on the road with the Spin Doctors. Or was it Ace of Base? I don't know. Well, whoever it was. They've still got my black leather bikini trunks with the sweet metal spikes. Yeah, folks, it's true. Matchbox 20 didn't kill rock and roll. My bitchin' bikini trunks did. Anywho, to learn more about the cigars enjoyed on tonight's episode, please visit Yebiga.com and CrownedHeads.com. And don't get me wrong, Match 20 still sucks major one-eyed penis monsters though. They are just fucking terrible. For more on O'Brien's Irish Pub, the live music leader in Central Texas, please visit o'briensimple.com and download their free smartphone app, where you'll find full beer listings including over 40 on tap, menu information, and a calendar of upcoming live events. To listen and purchase music heard on tonight's program, check out www.fritzbeermusic.com. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. This is Keith A. Howell saying until next time, friends, unless we see you sooner at the pub. So keep it smoky, and for God's sake, keep it ballsy as well.